In business, but also in life, it's really important to understand the different types of motivation, but also what drives you and what drives the people around you. First of all, we'll look at ourselves. Often we have aims, goals, and objectives and things that we want to achieve. But something that Tony Robbins talks about in his book, Awaken the Giant Within, is moving towards values and moving away values. Moving towards are things that we want and desire. This could be to get rich, get famous, to win that award, to be recognized by our peers, and all this great stuff that we want. Moving away values is actually stuff that we are scared of, stuff that we don't want, that we want to move away from those things and actually reduce our risk of bad things happening. One of the things that's really important to keep in mind is that people's motivations will change over time. I know mine have and certainly did. That when you're younger, you often have these huge goals and ambitions because, to be honest, you haven't really got too much to lose. So you can go all in to start that business and make those sales calls and do all this great stuff. As well, when you get to your 30s, 40s, 50s and beyond, you've probably actually amassed some wealth. You might have a house, you have a car, you have lots of different things that you then have to balance the ambition of wanting more, but also with the risk of potentially losing what you have. And the more you understand about your own motivations, this is actually a very useful tool. So when you speak to your team, this will also be true. You'll have some people that are motivated by money and bonuses and lots of different things. But actually others will be happy where they are and they want to mitigate risk and also be more secure. That actually extra and bonuses and things don't necessarily motivate them as much as actually just having a good, secure, stable job. And actually that is what's really important to them. One great technique actually also from Tony Robbins to help you drive and understand your own motivations, because actually if you start a business, it is actually very difficult. You will have tough days, things won't go right. And actually on a Friday afternoon when you've had a long week, to actually pick up the phone and do those sales calls and do all that stuff can be tough when actually you could just not do that, sit on the couch, watch TV and relax for the weekend. Using the technique of moving away values and things that you're genuinely kind of scared of, especially with a potential recession and challenge, it's not uncommon and it's not impossible that you might lose the customers that you have. You could lose your job. Based on losing your job, actually, if you can't keep up your repayments on your gas bill or your mortgage or different things, you could lose the house, you could lose your job, you could lose your car. Then actually, if you think about that, well, actually, could your wife leave you if you lose everything that you had on your savings? Your kids might not want to talk to you because they're upset. And what you're actually doing here, it's a technique called future pacing. But actually, if you really visualize everything that can possibly go wrong actually kind of happening, because the truth is it could, suddenly then, it's a Friday afternoon, you're kind of not really feeling it, you want to go home. If you imagine what could happen if the world just went terrible and everything went wrong and you suddenly had already lost your house and your car and your wife and your family and your kids, you can imagine how hard you would work to kind of win that all back and get through. You often see this in films where people have that motivation and drive and they just work really hard. But the truth is you can actually encapsulate that idea without having gone through the pain if you think it through. But the point being, you can use that as genuine motivation to do your lead actions and do things which will really help you achieve your goal. But the fear is a big driver. I know for me personally, now more than ever, I'm not scared of failing, but I am actually scared and I would not put my own house and different things at risk now because I've worked really hard to get to where I am. That is a red line for me that maybe wasn't 10, 15 years ago. And the truth is your aims and goals and objectives will change over time. Your motivations will change over time as well. Mine now is more about social good, but the red line is still the potential risk of losing my house and actually that affecting my marriage and my family life. That I don't mind if I fail and people think I look stupid. That I can take that, that's okay. But actually the thought of things going really horribly wrong and impacting my family is something that I would never let happen. So actually part of the reason why I'm so motivated to do everything is trying to use both the positive goals and the stuff that I want to achieve, which I do, but also I keep in mind the other motivators, which can be fear and loss, which is really important to do as well. So this is just a really quick video to talk about the concept. We go in the book about more things to talk about. I definitely recommend Tony Robbins' books on Awaken the Giant Within, and actually to talk about these different things. And then actually the more you go through the technique of visualization to actually figure out and feel, if you can, everything that could go wrong and what could actually, how could that impact you. If that's pretty bad, which it probably will be if you do it properly, it then makes picking up the phone for that sales call a little bit easier, because actually, compared to what could happen if it was all to go wrong, this is the much better option, and it can be a great motivator for some.